Well, unlike a lot of car companies, Honda came out with a concept car and they're actually going to build it. So let's talk about it. So, the Honda Prelude is officially coming back. So Honda at the Japan Mobility Show, which used to be called the Tokyo Motor Show, I thought that's a better name in my opinion, they unveiled the Honda Prelude concept. And I think a lot of us enthusiasts were really scared of it being, well, just another EV. But this morning, Honda sent out a press release email, and I still think it's so cool when I get press release emails because it makes me feel official, right? So thank you, Honda. But according to them, the Honda Prelude is coming to the United States late next year, which is much sooner than I expected. And this is pretty big news because with the Honda Civic Type R and arguably the Integra Type S, which are under the same umbrella, Honda doesn't really have many sporty cars out right now. And yes, I think you and I are still all waiting for that S2000 successor. Man, some of those renderings were super cool, if only they were true. So today's video is going to be very simple. I'm going to break down the press release, what we know so far about the new Honda Prelude, and my thoughts on it. So this will be the 6th generation Prelude. Time flies. And the 5th gen came out what feels like an eternity ago. So there hasn't been a Prelude for a very long time. And the 5th gen had the legendary H-Series 4-cylinder engine, also known as the big block of Hondas back in the day. You have a 2.2 liter, holy smokes. Which famously was the same engine that Kyle from Boosted Boys used in the 1st generation of his Rousey. So yeah, it was an awesome platform and it was a ton of fun to mess around with. And I was always very partial to the 5th gen Prelude. I know they were heavier than say your EGs and your EK Civics, so they didn't get as much love. Plus, that car just looked like it just should have been rear-wheel drive in the first place, and it totally would have been a 240SX competitor if that happened. But it didn't, so. And Honda claims that this new Prelude will bring the joy of driving into the electrified future. This is where I held my breath. I was like, they're just gonna make it a 100% EV. I was just kind of like, it'll be all right. But then they said it was going to be a hybrid with 2 electric motors, which I'm on board for. I know that sounds weird, but I'd rather have that than it be a 100% EV. Because believe it or not, if you've never gotten the chance to drive an electric motor assisted combustion engine, it's actually really fun. If it's meant for performance, it's a ton of fun because all that bottom end torque you get to give that combustion motor the push, right? And then you're just accelerating incredibly fast, but you still get that combustion feel as well. Like the new M5, for example, which is the Titanic, and it is a massive boat, over 5,000 pounds, but it's still bonkers fast because of a similar system. They also state that it'll debut the Honda Shift S, wait, how do you say it? Sorry. It will debut the innovative Honda S Plus Shift feature to enhance the experience. Yeah, I see why I screwed that up. My bad, guys. Now, that made my brain go straight to things like the Hyundai Ioniq 5N, which was 100% EV, but my God, did they do a good job making it feel like a gearbox. I wanted to go into that car thinking it was gonna be a gimmick, it was gonna be dumb, but they proved me wrong, man. Like, and I'm not a stand for EVs at all, and I really enjoyed driving that car. I had a great time. So if they're able to have a gearbox that's engaging and fun, or simulate a gearbox that's engaging and fun, fine. But it needs to be up to that standard for sure, and that's a very high standard. As much as I want it to be 100% combustion, I see why they're making these decisions. So the vice president of Honda Auto Sales had something to say about all this. The return of the Honda Prelude as a hybrid electric sports model demonstrates our continued commitment to offer a variety of exhilarating products to meet the needs of our customers. So, in other words, Honda says they want to be fun, right? And Honda's entire reputation is cars that are fun to drive, that have character, and they're memorable. That's why you have people who build Hondas still 30 years later after they came out, because they just can't let go of that feeling of VTEC and the scream from the 4-cylinder, because it makes them feel something. So Honda is obviously trying to go after that. By the way, side note, what is it with all new car brands taking their font, making it lowercase, and spacing it all the way out for that minimalist look? It doesn't look good. I saw this yesterday, and I said, no, Honda, no, not you too. Like, their logo is fine. Don't change it. Should we learn from Jag? Like, come on now. So, yeah, that logo is going to be on the new Prelude, so, oh well. The Prelude has always been one of the cars in Honda's lineup that they would take that platform and try a lot of new things with it as well. In the 4th gen especially was like, hey, what idea do we have for a sports car? Let's try it on the Prelude. They had 4-way steering, for example, which made it handle phenomenally. And at the same time, it had a digital dash, which the 5th gen didn't even have, as far as I know. Which is so funny. It was like, okay, the digital dash thing, maybe not the greatest idea for longevity, so we'll go back to a gauge cluster. But still, it was cool to see that the Prelude was kind of a blank canvas for the engineers of Honda. All the way back to the 1st gen, you could feel like it was a more modern car when you drove it. Or it was reaching for the stars when they built Preludes. So hopefully, this Prelude feels the same way when you drive it, going, oh, I see that they're trying new things here and they're trying new things there. And this is actually really good timing for the Prelude and to be doing this kind of hybrid system, because Honda is celebrating 25 years of selling hybrids, starting with the Honda Insight. Arguably, that car, weird place in my heart. I think it's a super neat, weird car with the freaking wheel covers and everything. And that was all the way back in 1999. And I always forget just how old that car is. Side note, the only time I've ever driven a Honda Insight was a mid-engine swapped Honda Insight with a Subaru SVX motor. Yeah, not something you see every day. And by the way, I never drove the Subaru SVX, so I got 2 very odd car experiences in one go. Now, the hybrid system obviously seems like a big step towards Honda's plan to go basically full electric, kind of like a lot of car companies nowadays, but we'll get to that in a second. But they also are going to be using this to also promote their other project that's being unveiled at CES in 2025, but they also kind of dabbled in it and showed some of it at CES last year, and that's called the Honda Zero Series. It's a very futuristic looking vehicle, and you can tell, like, it's obviously a concept car, but they're gonna have hints of what the future looks like for Honda. And I don't know if there's like a polite or like professional way to say this about the modern car industry. And I'm not hating, I'm just kind of stating as a fly in the wall of the industry. I'm having a harder and harder time believing these plans of like these big companies going, we're gonna go full electric by this year. And then, you know, a couple years later, they're like, come to find out, this isn't easy. You know, like the supply chain, changing everything, adoption, getting people to buy them. They're very expensive cars. It takes a while to charge, getting to a charging station. The infrastructure isn't as convenient as gasoline. It's just not. So I always kind of like very much take a step back from this kind of thing and go, we'll see. Rather than saying it's not going to happen or it is going to happen, I just kind of take a step back from it and go, we'll see. And for enthusiasts like you and I think as of right now, hybridization is really the way forward. We honestly get the benefits from the combustion feeling and the electric feeling, and they're working in tandem, and it has benefits, right? It has benefits to have that bottom end torque. I am really glad though that the Honda Zero Series at least has a steering wheel. I know that sounds very strange, but a lot of these hyper futuristic concepts you're seeing nowadays don't even have a steering wheel. Kind of like the Cadillac I was invited to go see a few years ago. Like, that was crazy. Sitting in a big cabin that had a big screen in front of me, no steering wheel, and they're like, yeah, you just get in and it'll just take you somewhere. And I'm like, yeah, but I want to drive. I like driving. I'm glad that the Honda at least has a freaking steering wheel. Who would have thought that's a phrase said about the car industry? I'm glad it has a steering wheel. But once again, if Honda is able to understand that this is an opportunity to make their brand feel really fun again, then I think this is a win for everybody. If they're able to make this car really fun to drive and feel dynamic and give it personality, because I actually don't think it looks all too bad. I actually like the look of it pretty good. I know a lot of people are saying it gives them Prius vibes, but let's be honest, the new Prius goes way too hard, dude. Like, I'll give you a little bit of a backstory on that. So I was invited to the Toyota headquarters HQ confidential, mouthful. I had to dial up that information really quick. Basically what it is you get a sneak peek at future vehicles and stuff at Toyota's headquarters, and I got to see the new Prius basically unveiled before it officially was unveiled. And all of us in the room all looked at each other going, why do we like this? Like, why do we like this so much? So that's a compliment nowadays. If it looked like a Prius from 20 years ago, I'd be like, yeah, that's probably not good. However, Prelude, it looks like a pretty sharp looking car so far. If the concept and that are gonna be basically identical, it's a pretty good looking car. It's not like a lot of these new cars where you come out and you go, yikes, that needs some work. That needs a lip or a spoiler or something to break things up. Kind of like the Integra to the Integra Type S. Miles different. Like, so much different, it's not even funny, dude. So anyway, new Honda Prelude. What do you guys think of it? Do you care about it? Do you not care about it? Do you think this is a smart move by Honda? Put it down in the comment section below. And once again, I typically upload on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays, and I will see you guys next time. Take it easy. Have a wonderful day. Goodbye.